GenAI for DevOps engineers, 30 days, real labs, real workflows. Launch price, $39, limited seats. This program is built to fix exactly that. Not theory, not buzzwords, not build chat. We focus on practical GenAI skills that directly map to real DevOps workflows. This is not a video-only course. You'll get guided, hands-on labs, real environments, time-bound, controlled access, exercises that mirror real DevOps plus GenAI usage. 30 Days of AI Agents is a hands-on program designed to help learners understand, build, and evaluate modern AI agents using popular open-source frameworks. Over 4 weeks, participants will build AI agents using tools such as N8N, Crew AI, Llama Index, LangGraph, and small agents. Duration 30 days. Format live instructor-led sessions. Hands-on, yes, guided labs and exercises.
Hello everyone. In today's video, I will show you if you really understand how the W command works in Linux. So let's understand what is a W command. The W command gives you a snapshot of the current system state. It includes who logged in and what they are doing. It also provides information about the system load average, which is particularly useful for understanding the CPU load. If you look at the first line, it will give you the load average and who logged into the system. When you execute this W command, you will see the output like this. And like I already mentioned, it gives you the load average. But at the same time, it gives you some more information like what is the current time, how long the system has been up, the number of logged in users, which in this case is one user. We already discussed this load average, which is the load average of the system in the last 1 minute, 5 minutes, and 15-minute interval. It also gives you information about the logged in user, like we have already discussed, the user, the terminal in which they have attached to the login, the remote host, how many seconds the system is idle, the job CPU time, the process CPU time, and the command which is being executed. So let's understand how these things work. W commands basically read the system uptime and load average from two files. One file is called /proc/uptime, and the second file is called /proc/load average. So these are the two files from which it gets its details. And there are a bunch of files and directories that are also read. So let's first focus on /proc/uptime. So this /proc/uptime, as you can see, contains two values. The first value is the total number of seconds the system has been up. This is the number of seconds from which your system is up and running. The second value is the amount of time the system has spent idle, meaning it is not doing anything. The way the kernel tracks all these things is with the help of something called a timer. Your Linux kernel maintains a timer that starts when the system boots. What this timer does is it continuously counts the number of seconds the system has been running. At the same time, the kernel tracks the idle time of each CPU. Idle means when the CPU is not executing any process, so the time is considered idle. The kernel increments this idle counter for each CPU. For example, if your system has multiple CPUs, which you can see by this. For example, in this case, we have a two-processor system. So the kernel increments the idle time counter for each CPU whenever it is idle. Another way you can do it is by executing a top command and then pressing 1. You can see the CPU, and here is a field called idle. Here you can see that it is idle, meaning the system is virtually doing nothing. So your W command reads this file called /proc/uptime to get these two values. The total number of seconds the system is up and the total number of seconds it has been idle. Let's look at the second file, which is called /proc/load average. And let's again execute the W command. If you look at this file, it has 5 fields. The first 3 fields are what exactly you see in this load average output. This is the load average from 1 minute, 5 minutes, and 15 minutes. The next field is the total number of processes running on the system. These are the total number of processes versus the number of processes which are running on the system, which in this case is 2. The last field, which is an interesting field, is the most recent process that was created and forked on the system. This was the last process which was created and forked on this particular system. It gives the bit of the system which is called the process ID. So let's try to understand this in more depth. When a new process is created, which can be created either by the fork system call or the clone system call, it is assigned a unique ID which is called a process ID. The last process ID value in the /proc load average reflects the newly created process. The next question is how this field is useful for us. It can help you to identify any abnormal behavior or spike in process creation activity. So let's take a simple scenario. In case you notice any high load average, you can use this last process ID field to check the recent process creation history and correlate it with the system load. So it means maybe this process causes the high load on your system. This is how you can correlate. We have covered proc uptime as well as proc load average. The next file your W command reads is called var run utmp, which is a binary file. If you try to run the file command, it will always show the data file, but if you try to read the content, it will give you this kind of garbled output. So it's basically a binary file, and this file contains information about the currently logged in user. If you look at this in the W command output, you see the currently logged in user. So basically from this file, W gets this information about the currently logged in user. This file also contains information like the terminal the user connected to, the host from where it is coming, and the login time. This terminal information like PTS0 as well as the login. So W is not the only command that uses this file. There are other popular commands, for example, who which also gives you information about the currently logged in user as well as uptime, which also gives similar information. So in W, you see this uptime output like this. So basically, the point is that W, who, and uptime all need this information from this well-read UTMP file. So you can think of it as a really critical file. And one thing to add, if you look at the permission of this file, it is owned by the root and a special group called UTMP, as we don't want any unauthorized access or modification to this file. So that's why it is owned by the root user. So far, we have covered W getting all the information up till this point from proc load average or proc uptime or from UTMP. Let's look at some other fields. There's one more directory where the W command reads called proc directory, which we all know is a virtual file system. And depending upon the process ID, for example, the one like I mentioned, it reads the stat file within each process directory to gather data about each process's CPU usage and the current state to fill in. For example, if you go back here and you see the fields, for example, JCPU, DCPU, and what. So let's look at one of the processes, for example, proc1 and stat. So let's look at the first field called JCPU. What is the JCPU? JCPU stands for job CPU time. It is the total CPU time used by all the processes attached to the terminal. So for example, if you have a bunch of processes running, it calculates the user mode CPU time, which is the U time, which is present somewhere in this 14th field, as well as the kernel mode CPU time, which is the 15th field. And it sums all these values for all the processes attached to a terminal. The user mode process plus kernel mode process. It combines everything and represents it in this field called JCPU, which is the job CPU time. So whatever process is attached to a terminal, it gives you that information. Similarly, it does the same thing with BCPU, which is the current process, which is the process CPU time, and it will give you information about the current process. That's the same thing. It combines all the user mode CPU time and the kernel mode CPU time and gives you this information about the current process. The last field is the word column, which is the command being executed. For this purpose, it reads something called the proc cmd line file, and from there, you will get that information. In some cases, if this file cmd line is unavailable, then it will switch back to this proc_bit stat file. So far, we have understood that the W command reads a bunch of these files, assembles all the output, and then displays it on the screen to give this information like this. Let's look at how this happens under the hood. One thing that I think is clear now is that we understand that the W command displays the load average for 1 minute, 5 minutes, and 15 minutes. So how does the kernel do that? Like I mentioned earlier, if you look at this cat proc CPU info, we have already seen that this is a 2 CPU process system. In this case, if we assume that this is a single core, single CPU process, and if our load average is 1, that means the system is fully utilized. But in case this load average is greater than 1, we will say the system is overloaded. In the case of 2 CPUs, if the load average is 2, then we can say the system is fully utilized. But if this load average is greater than 2, we will say your system is kind of overloaded. But let's look at how the kernel calculates this load. We have already spoken about it a little bit, But let's try to understand that the kernel uses something called a sampling process state. So what the kernel does is it periodically samples the state of all processes. It basically does that by looking at which processes are in the running state and which processes are in the waiting state. The waiting state in the sense, for example, this is a 2 CPU system, and at a time, if we try to execute 3 processes, one process will be in the queued state or waiting to be run on the CPU. So if you are still confused, let's try to understand that with a simple example. Let's say you are managing a small factory which has several hundreds of machines, and you periodically walk around and count how many machines are currently in the working state and how many machines are currently waiting for material to start working. So your several machines in this case are kind of processes. Each time you do this, you walk around and count how many are working and how many are waiting for material. You have a tally sheet which you can think of as a counter, and you keep track of the count of the number of working versus waiting machines. Similarly, the Linux kernel keeps updating its tally, which we spoke about as the counter to know how busy the CPU is at a given time. If you're interested in the formula, it uses something called exponential decay. The load average is calculated using exponential decay, which uses recent samples and gives more weight to recent activity and less importance to older activity. So what do I mean by that? Think of it like this. To find out how busy the CPU is right now, LT is the formula it uses to find out the number of processes waiting to be executed or waiting to run. If you want to find out how busy the CPU is at this moment, the formula is LT. This formula combines these two pieces of information, the number of processes waiting and how busy the CPU is. E is the constant, which is like 2718, which gives more weight to recent samples like we have already discussed. It's a high-level overview of how this works under the hood. Finally, to sum it up, combining all these files like proc uptime, proc load average, UTMP, proc bitstat, and also proc CMD line, the W command produces the final output. By understanding these steps, you can see how the W command provides a snapshot of the system activity and load and helps you to diagnose any Linux performance or CPU performance issues. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in these topics, please check out my book, Cracking the DevOps Interview. The link is in the description. Thank you so much again.